Hey everyone, and welcome. I am so excited for today's explainer, because we're going to let you in on a secret superpower. Literally, every single writer has this. It's a superpower that can take one simple story and totally flip it upside down, just by changing one tiny little detail. And that detail is, who's actually telling the story? In the book world, we call this the point of view. Today, we're going to explore exactly how authors use this tool to shape everything you see, feel, and experience when you crack open a book.
Okay, let's dive right in. Just imagine you're looking through the handlebars of this bike. Notice how the view is pointing straight out at the path ahead, looking at the other riders. It almost feels like your own hands should be reaching out to grab those handlebars, right? Like you're the one actually pedaling. Well, that exact feeling, that feeling of being right inside the action, seeing things through someone's own eyes, that's exactly what authors do with words.
So let's look at the actual definition here. Point of view, or we often just call it POV for short, is the perspective an author uses to tell a story, connect with the reader, and really shape their whole experience. It gives you all the background info you need to understand what's happening. But hey, if you only remember one thing from today, make it this. Whenever you read a story, stop and ask yourself, who is telling this? Because the answer to that question, it changes absolutely everything.
All right, let's see how this actually works. Let's move to our first category, which is the first-person perspective. I kind of like to call this the personal journal, because reading a story written this way feels, well, incredibly personal. It's actually the most personal type of writing you can do. When an author writes like this, they're either telling a story from their own point of view or directly from inside their main character's head.
Now, there are a few really simple clues that tell us we're reading in the first person. First off, you're going to see a lot of personal pronouns, like I and me. It really sounds just like someone's private diary, or like you're hanging out in a room listening to your best friend talk about their day. And because the narrator is right there witnessing the events firsthand, they only know what they can personally see and feel. That creates this awesome closeness with the reader. You get to figure things out right alongside the character, which is just a fantastic way to build up suspense.
Check out this classic example from Mark Twain's famous book, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Huck says, "I am rotten glad of it, because if I'd have knowed what a trouble it was to make a book, I wouldn't have tackled it, and ain't a-going to no more." Look at all those eyes. It really sounds like Huck is just sitting right next to you on a log, chatting away about his life. That is the absolute magic of the first-person perspective.
Okay, moving right along, we're going to look at something a little bit different now. Our next category is the second-person perspective. Now, honestly, this one's a bit rare in fiction. It can sometimes get a little confusing for made-up stories, so authors don't use it all that much for novels. But even though you might not see it in your favorite fantasy series, you actually see second person all the time in real life without even realizing it. And this brilliantly illustrates what I mean. Think about a gardening guide. In second-person POV, the writer uses the pronoun you. They are speaking directly to the reader. It is incredibly popular in how-to books. Imagine you're reading a book on how to grow a giant pumpkin. The author might write, "First you need to dig a big hole, and then you plant the seed." They're talking to you. You see it in video game instructions, commercials, and hey, even right now in this explainer when I ask, have you ever thought about who tells a story? It grabs you and pulls you right into the perspective, which can really build up excitement. All right, now for the big one, the third-person perspective. I always call this one the movie camera. If you march down to the library right now and grab a random novel off the shelf, chances are super high it'll be written in the third person. It is by far the most common type of narration out there. So let's see how it works.
In the third person, the narrator is completely outside of the story. They aren't a character at all. Instead of I or you, they use pronouns like he, she, or they. It acts exactly like a movie camera hovering around, just watching the action unfold from the outside. And sometimes, this narrator is what we call omniscient, which is a huge fancy word, but it literally just means all-knowing. An omniscient narrator is like a magical, flying movie camera that can peek inside the minds of all the characters, not just one. So you get the inside scoop even when nobody else is around.
Okay, class, are you ready for a little experiment? We're going to take everything we just learned and put it to the ultimate test. We're running the Rapunzel experiment. We're going to take the super famous fairy tale of Rapunzel, the girl stuck in a tower with the ridiculously long hair, and we're going to see what happens to the exact same story when we completely change the point of view. First up, let's look at the traditional way the story is told. It goes like this. Rapunzel unbraided her hair and slung it out the window. The prince climbed her tresses into the tower. See how that's in the third person? We've got our floating movie camera parked outside the tower, just peacefully watching the action happen. It's a nice, simple, romantic fairy tale. But what if we zoomed in?
Now, what's really interesting here is how dramatically the story completely flips when we switch to a first-person narrator. Instead of the outside camera, let's put the camera right inside the prince's head. The prince says, "The tail end of Rapunzel's locks plopped down at my feet. I grabbed on and began to climb. Ugh, I couldn't untangle myself. Strands came off all over me, sticking to my sweat. Ew, gross, right? Suddenly our neat little fairy tale is a sweaty, tangled mess, all because we're experiencing it firsthand through the prince."
But wait a second. What if the prince isn't the narrator? What if Rapunzel is the one writing the personal journal? Let's read her first-person perspective. "I hope he appreciates how long it takes to unbraid 25 feet of hair. I'll be honest, I thought my scalp would stretch right off my skull. Can you climb any faster? Wow, instead of being some quiet princess just waiting around to be rescued, she's actually super annoyed and, let's be real, her head probably really hurts. The exact same event feels totally completely different depending on whose viewpoint it is."
And hey, just for fun, what if we tried it in the second person? Listen to this. He calls your name, he wants you to let your hair down. You literally just finished braiding it, but hey, you don't get a lot of visitors. Do you see what just happened there? By using the word you, suddenly the person sitting right there in the classroom listening to this explainer, yes, you are Rapunzel. You are the one stuck up in the tower.
So, the crucial point is, whoever holds the pen gets to decide exactly how the reader experiences the world. By choosing a first, second, or third-person perspective, an author can completely reinvent a story. So I want to leave you all with a fun challenge today. I want you to pick your absolute favorite fairy tale. Got it? Now pick a totally different character from that story, maybe even the villain, and rewrite it from their first-person perspective. Think about how the story transforms. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep asking yourselves, who is telling the story?